Chapter 71, The Souvenir. Rain pounded relentlessly on the dark road, lit up by the car's headlights. The wipers struggled but were unable to keep pace with the rain shower. By the time they had returned, raindrops had already covered the windshield, making it hard to see. Ever since leaving the professor, lying on the wet road, Topaz and Azer had fallen into silence. Inside the car, the heater was on, gradually warming up the space. Azer glanced at Topaz, noticing the residue from the fire extinguisher forming a solid mask on her face. He touched it with the tip of his finger, earning a sharp look from Topaz. She managed to part her glued lips and asked, "What are you doing?" Azer replied, "Seems like they mixed potato flour in the fire extinguisher." Curious, Topaz inquired, "Why would they do that?" Azer explained, "It's probably a creative solution during wartime shortages. Potato flour is mostly starch. When it mixes with water and becomes exposed to fire, it turns into a gel-like substance." Topaz exclaimed, "Ugh, great, now I'll hate eating potato forever and associate it with this mess." Azer reached to turn off the heater, prompting Topaz to protest, "Why are you turning it off?" Azer answered, "Heat might make the mask on your face more rigid." Angrily, Topaz retorted, "I don't care. I'd rather have hot mashed potatoes on my face than freeze." Sometimes silence outweighs a pointless discussion. After a while, Azer retrieved a brass container given to him by the professor. He rolled it between his fingers, catching Topaz's attention. She glanced at it and asked, "What's that?" Azer looked at her and said, "It's a keepsake from the professor. There was a pill inside that I gave him." He elaborated, the professor's body was smashed, and he needed a strong painkiller. Remembering the professor's words, Azer mumbled, "It can handle anything," and then explained, "Now I understand why he went silent so suddenly." It finally made sense why the professor insisted on Azer keeping the brass container. If the police found it with Azer's fingerprints next to the professor, they might accuse him of murder. Confused, Topaz asked, "What are you talking about?" Azer confessed, "I fear I gave the professor a cyanide pill." He added, "That's why it was in a special pocket of his old military uniform." Topaz recalled, "My dad bought a similar container from a thrift store in Berlin when he and my stepmom were sightseeing in the inner city." Azer mentioned, "I could imagine that you still can find relics from the Nazi era in German thrift shops, including these pills made for SS officers. They could use them to commit suicide if captured." Topaz sighed, "Men and their morbid collectibles. I bet my dad got it as a just-in-case measure for severe illness." Azer looked at her and asked, "Do you know why this container has a suppository shape?" Topaz questioned, "No, why?" Azer explained, "So that SS officers could conceal it in their rectums to avoid detection when captured." Topaz reacted, "Wait, you mean that container in your hand has been up a Nazi officer's backside?" Azer clarified, "No, this one was in the professor's pocket. But the one your dad has bought probably had a quite different journey." Topaz exclaimed, "Ew, that's gross." Azer continued, "That means your dad unknowingly brought some aggressive bacteria into Australia. It could trigger a serious epidemic, given the history of introduced species, which have caused natural disasters on that continent." Topaz was shocked. She turned to Azer, urgently saying, "Give me your phone. I need to warn my dad."